Hi, so I'm on day 4 of the challenge. I've decided to stop showing fingers. You change as you get older. Just kidding. Um, no, you do change as you get older. With time, right? With time, everything changes. Um, the idea of change is very real for me. And I believe wholeheartedly in the movement of life. Because with every stage is a movement and it's a process and it's a way of going. So today had more specialist visits, turning 45, and they're sending me to everybody and their mama. Preventative care is better than no care at all, right? Because trying to fix something when it's broken is worse than before it even got broken. So in that case, I go to the appointments cheerfully, and I'm a cheerful participant of each appointment. Because, hey, they didn't ask for you to come to their place of work and be a grouch. So I go there and I smile and I crack jokes and I make it funny and I make it less awkward for me and the other people involved. It's much better. You get a better experience of the day and it's just better all around. I feel that you should be an addition to someone's day and not a subtraction. I don't want people to be a subtraction to mine, so why should I go around being a subtraction to others? Just a general rule of life. I think a while back I learned a lesson. It was called, you could be miserable or happy. The level of effort is the same. And I decided I wanted to be happy and that I would not be miserable. And I would do the effort and put the work in to not be miserable. Because if the effort of being miserable and happy are the same, I choose happy. I choose happy every time. You can do it too. You don't have to go around being a grouch. It could be a bad day, but that doesn't mean you need to be in a bad mood. Everything could have fallen apart and not gone the way it was supposed to. But why does your mood have to mirror that? Why? The level of you mustering up a smile and you mustering up a laugh even in the middle of the pain of those moments, it don't hurt. In fact, it helps you mentally, physically. It does more for your body than you just sitting there crying. Yes, there are times if a cry needs to happen, you should cry. Cry that cry out. Cry real good. Once you're done, dry your eyes and move on. Smile and laugh and have a good time. Don't be in the misery. And same, misery loves company. All the negative stays negative. It doesn't get positive. Yes, if something is really bad, acknowledge it, understand it for what it is, and walk through it. But don't sit in it. Don't be stuck in it. Don't turn it into glue that you can't move out of. Don't turn it into your whole lifespan and your new way of life. Depression, a lot of times people could have avoided letting the depression even get as bad as it got, to then need medical assistance. When you continue to sit in something, continue to allow it to just clamor you up and take you whole. You're giving it permission to live in you. Don't do that. Don't give it permission to live in you, because the next step is needing medical assistance to get out of that. Don't even let it sit long enough to need that kind of assistance. Yes, things do happen. Shit falls apart. Can't tell me all about that. I know all about that. I know it firsthand. I know how to make it fall apart, and I know how to watch it fall apart. And I know how to let it happen to you without you doing anything to precipitate it. I know all of the above. I remember when I was married to my ex-husband, I said to him one day, I feel like the shoe's going to fall off. And he says, well, enjoy it until it falls off. That's somebody who knew he was intending to destroy my life. And he still said that shit to me. And you know what I did? I did enjoy it. And then when it fell apart, had a damn good time enjoying that it had fallen apart too. At first, I was devastated, no doubt. The idea of failing at something always sucks and it hurts. And you gotta cry it out. And I cried my cry, fasted my fasting, did all my praying, what I could to see if it could be salvaged. And when it was clear it wasn't gonna be salvaged and he filed for divorce, baby, I got my shit together and started enjoying my life again. Because you cannot hold people hostage and you cannot expect them to make you happy or bring you happy. You are happy by you choosing to be happy. Your circumstance, your environment, your situation, those aren't what help make you happy. If I want to tell you my circumstance, you'd be like, why are you still smiling? Why are you happy? Because I'm choosing to be happy. Happy and miserable, same effort. I choose happy every time, every single time. Because miserable ain't worth it. Miserable gives you stress, which leads to disease, which leads to your body responds negatively to stress. It kills itself. It automatically begins killing itself when it experiences too high a stress. So why would you want to encourage that? I know some of you do. Maybe not intentionally, maybe it wasn't your goal, but you find yourself in that environment. Make the change. Consciously, that's the difference between you and a wild animal. You have the ability to decide and make the change. God gave us the right to choose. Choose wisely. Don't choose foolishly. Choose that you want to change the trajectory of your life by changing the attitude in which you look at your life. No matter how miserable, look, my dad used to say, somebody's always worse off from you. Somebody always has it worse than you. And that is true. You do not have it the worst. Somebody has it worse than you. And they're making it happen. So we're going to talk about it being worse and that's why we don't want to make it better? Stop it. Stop it. Don't sit in stupid and don't make excuses for stupid. That's all you're doing, making excuses. Excuses don't fix things. Excuses don't make things better. Excuses don't change your attitude. Excuses don't change the situation. Excuses don't do nothing but be excuses. And they're wasting your time. Don't live in them. Don't give them hold over you. And just simply don't sit in it. I mean, again, the level of miserable and happy is the same. You choose. Is bitter pill or the sweet pill? I like the sweet pill. But yeah, I mean, if you've gotten into that pattern of funky, I understand that sometimes it's hard to make the leap out of it. Sometimes it's hard to understand that it's okay that your face doesn't have to make a resting bitch face all the time, 24 hours a day. And that it can pop up into a smile. I know some of you are afraid of wrinkles. Baby, you could be afraid of wrinkles all you want. If they're going to happen, they're going to happen. Like, that's not worth the damage of not getting a smile in your face on a regular basis is worse than the wrinkle on your face. You will grow old. Your face will grow old with you. If you don't want it to show the old age wrinkling side, then take the effort to eat the things that create elasticity for your skin, that create the snapback for your skin. Do that work instead of avoiding basic life and the enjoyment of life in an attempt to do silly. Look, if the goal is to look young, youthful, then you do the things that your skin needs to be youthful. You don't stop your body from experiencing the things it needs to be youthful. Because the more you smile, the more youthful you are. Because when you're happy from inside out, it comes out in your skin, comes out in your face. It comes out in your body's response to disease and infection. It comes out in so many areas of your life that its value is much more than a value of a crease in your face. And if it's the crease you're chasing, the crease is less of a crease if you give your body the nutrients it needs to not have those creases. So instead of avoiding a smile and a laugh over some silly things like that, do the other work that needs to be done to get you what you're trying to get. Like, the equations people make for themselves sometimes don't equate. Look at the situation for what it really is. Assess it. See what so if the situation is, like in I'll give you my story. My story is, I'm currently self-employed. My business is not making enough to support me and my family. I have to decide whether I'm getting a job or I'm marketing myself and my skills in different ways. I want to do all the above. because I want to put my eggs in multiple baskets to ensure success. So what does this mean? It means someone who has not worked a 9 to 5 in so many years. Since 20. I think the first time I officially fully came out of the work system and didn't return was in 2018. I came out in 2018. And even with COVID, I didn't need to return. But then my car got totaled on the 1st of this year, and that shifted how I do life. And not having a car is costing me financially quite a bit. And while I wait for the situation to be resolved, it's costing me quite a bit. And I'm sitting in it. I'm dealing with all the circumstances that come with it, the not being able to move around as much. Luckily, I have medical health care that allows me to use Ubers to and from the appointments. That's been beneficial in ways you can. And then because of the downtime, I'm able to make all these appointments and get them done and get them through before I have to return either to the workforce or as I'm pivoting to figure out. I've done digital marketing and different things of that nature before, but I do not have the capacity to work in somebody else's business right now. I really need to work on my business because I've helped other people's businesses flourish. And so it's time to make mine more than a passive previous. It made decent income when I put all the effort into it. But when I started working with other people's businesses, I didn't put as much time into it. And so some things didn't stay as strong as they should. And then the last couple of months, I've really just spent researching and seeing new products and new things I want to do differently and how I want to stand out from other businesses. And I have all the research in now. It's funding. And so remember, I don't have the car to just quickly drum up some money and take care of things like I would normally do. Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, you name it. I can make money real quick. And then I also used to be a courier, so I know people to call, services to get back into, but I don't want to drive this time anymore. I want to come away, other than the bus driving that I was talking about, the CDLB and maybe a CDLB van, I could do that, or cargo or whatever. That was another option, but I still need to pass that test. I still need to finish studying for the test to then take the test, to pass the test. Tests cost money, test takes time. In the meantime, I'm trying to figure out other things to do to get through the hump before the hump. And some things are coming and things are working in their favor in ways, but it's still a process, right? And I can stay and be grumpy. I can stay and not be cheerful. I could come on these videos and be like nasty faced and just awkward as hell. But why? When I can enjoy my time on these videos, when I can enjoy my time in my day. Yes, my pace is a lot slower than I'm used to for somebody who likes to overwork and shut her body down through overworking. Queen of it. How to crash in 30 days and how to overwork your body in 30 days. I could tell you, I would make your heart race just telling you some of the shit I could pull off. But no, with age comes wisdom, right? The older you get, the more you realize you shouldn't keep pushing your body to its limits to make money. Because what you're really doing is you're increasing how much it's going to cost to maintain that body later on in life. So what you thought you earned in money at that present time is money you're going to spend in the future on your health care. So it's not a benefit. Don't push your body beyond its limit for nothing. It is never worth your while. The cost of it is so detrimental. You will be ashamed of what you've done to yourself when you have to deal with it. So don't put yourself in that environment. Don't do it to yourself. As someone who was queen of it, whose body crashed 3 times, doctors looking at me crazy, topsy-turvy, not even understanding it. Please know, I didn't just crash it normally. I was on like healthy diets, eating this, drinking that, doing this. Man, if it was green, it was my friend. Sorry, the AC unit keeps cutting in and sounding like a gate door. And I'm like, what? But it takes me off every time. But yeah, no, healthy eating. I was utilizing that. I even left coffee, but I moved into matcha and was doing. I would create these superfood drinks where I take a smoothie with fresh fruits and everything, or frozen ones from Costco or Sam's Club, and I would blend that with purple yam. If you go into the Asian store, they have a purple yam like breakfast powder that you can make into like almost like a oat or something, like a oatmeal powder to like drink or something. I would put that in the smoothie with some black soybean. Man, then I would take that black soybean and add some superfoods. I would add there's a special brand that Walmart typically has, and it's got all the red stuff in it. It's like a red powder, and it's got beets. It's got like a whole bunch of other superfoods blended into a powder. I'd add that to it, and then sometimes I'd add oatmeal to it and blend this smooth. And this would be breakfast with sometimes with actual food too. Sometimes I'd make the oatmeal separately and make it into oatmeal with a ton of nuts in it and raisins and cranberries, and mix all of that and then have that with that drink. Yeah, it was crazy. And then, or boil an egg and add to all of that. It was a lot. I was really trying to like be healthy in awkward ways, overly much. But yeah, no, the body crashed too many times. And, I remember one time, the first major crash, as I think it was, I'd already had my daughter. My ex-husband had left the house. He had divorced me. And I was left to pay the rent, the car payment, and our feeding and everything. And so a friend came to stay with me, and she would watch the children while what I did was this crazy thing where I would go and work a 9 to 5 at a corporate job, and then go and work another 9 to 5 at another corporate job, which was in a warehouse where I got benefits from both jobs. Both jobs came with a lot of benefits, a lot of time off, time this, sharing profits, life insurances like none other. I did both those jobs full time, 40 hours a week. Then I would, on weekends, those were Monday to Friday. So the first shift would be, I think it was like 8 to 5, or was it 8 to 5 or 8 to 4? 8 to 4. And then I would go home, change, or or drive to the other job. I forgot to mention that those 40 hours were, each job was 40 hours a week. So 80 hours a week. And then I would drive to the other job and then work that from like 5 to like 10 at night, or it was like the other rest of the 8 hours at that job. And then on weekends, I would drive Lyft. And this is how I functioned and survived. And then one day I was at, it wasn't a warehouse, they made parts for a car, important parts for a car. And it was a notable company. And for some reason, my body started acting really weird at that job. And one night I just felt really delirious and I couldn't hold it together, and I just felt really sick. And I had to tell my supervisor that I just had to go home. I remember getting into the car. I do not remember a huge portion of that drive home. I become conscious less than 10 minutes from the house because I'm drifting off the road. And I don't even know why I wasn't conscious, or when I lost conscious, or why I lost conscious. Please, no drugs, no alcohol, no inappropriate things. There was nothing to explain the loss of consciousness till this day. I book a doctor's appointment so fast it makes your head spin. And my doctor was like, "What's wrong with you? Nothing's ever wrong with you. You healthy as a horse. Why are you even in here?" And so I tell her what's happened. That woman sits down, grabs a chair and sits down, and just looks at me like, you've got to be kidding me. You are crazy and out of your mind. And she says, you've got to quit something. You can't keep doing this. You got to quit something. And I'm looking at her like, I don't want to quit nothing. I want this shit to work. And she's like, no, like you're lucky you've made it this far doing this. Like, you have to quit something. Like, you cannot keep this up. You will kill yourself. And I'm just looking at her like, I go home and I have to sit there and I have to figure it out. And, at that time, I end up leaving that second job first, is the first thing I do. And then I keep working the corporate job and lift on weekends. And then the corporate job, I'm making all my metrics except for production. So I'm making customer service, I'm making everything but one metric. And they're just like, no, we need that one metric. They take me through coaching. Man, the stress level at work was crazy. I was so grateful for my cubby mate who used to keep me sane. And I used to bake cakes for everybody's birthday. And I used to love that. That used to be so fun to do. Put mayo, the secret sauce to cake baking. Those cakes tasted amazing. So I was allowed to do that. And that was fun. So then I got down to realizing that I couldn't sustain the corporate job because my mentality and my ideology did not match up with it. And so then I looked for other positions that might match up better in the corporate position in that same company. And I found one for graphics, which required less metrics, and it would be something more fun. And I figured if I returned back to my roots of what was fun to me, that I would do well. But I had to go to school because even though I have a history of graphics, I didn't have a degree. And if I had the degree, they would pay me $500,000 a year because I already also had banking knowledge, which most graphic design people do not have banking knowledge. And so that would have been shoe-in guarantee job. So I was like, boss, I'm going back to school. So I cut out to go back to school full time and started back driving as a courier, which I had done when I was pregnant with my daughter, but had to leave because I delivered her. I went into labor one night after President Trump's election, the first time around, and I couldn't sleep, and I went into labor. They made me keep that baby in for as long as possible. They made me keep her in as long as possible, and And so I couldn't go back to being a courier. And so now, when I now needed to figure things out, I was like, oh, great time to go back to being a courier. So I went back to being a courier while doing the school. Then the school gets sued because they had done something wrong and didn't meet the requirements for the Board of Education anymore. And so then you had the option to stay and finish without accreditation or to run and take the money. This is the second time a school had done this to me, and I already had a whole degree that was barely hanging in the balance. And the only reason I chose the school is because they took that first degree and added it to create I would not need to go for more than 2 years to get a full bachelor's in the graphics. And I was just like, we're not doing this again. And so I left, collected the money instead. Over the years, they sent different checks for the different lawsuits that they went through. And I went on to being a courier. And then I started my career as that. And then just from that to being self-employed, to the Lyft and Uber and other things too. And then I started realizing that Uber and Lyft weren't it for me either. But it was just like this continuous progression of movement through things and things getting figured out. But I know I've always known I was an entrepreneur. I just didn't always want to be one. When I finally put on my big girl pants and was just like, okay, you're going to be an entrepreneur now. And so deciding that you're going to be an entrepreneur is very different for figuring out where you fit as an entrepreneur. It's easy to make money. You can make money as an entrepreneur. There's so many options and opportunities to make money as an entrepreneur. You just need to figure out where you fit and how you fit. And I know where I fit. I know how I fit. But the funding for that, I don't take loans for stuff. I don't believe in that. I believe in making the money to get myself to where I'm going. And so a lot of my equipment comes from money that was meant for me or given to me for things that I had coming to me. And so I bought so much. I own a lot of equipment, and I'm really sold in on my current business. I just need it to function the way I need it to function. And I see I see what's wrong with it. I know what's wrong with it. I know how to fix it. It's just being able to focus on something long enough and just keep pushing it can be hard. It can be hard, especially when you're not yet seeing the full results of it. That can be really hard, and it takes a lot. And I'm one of those people that over the years, I would just flip to something new if it wasn't moving fast enough. Because I have a high cost of living and I have high standards. And God had to break me of some of that stuff. And I had to go through the shift of priorities, the shift of what is important, the shift of what matters, the shift of what peace of mind and true joy means to me. And, I was a very vain person before the locks. Before the locks, for 5 years, I planned this hairstyle. For 5 years. The hairstyle was going to be, the bottoms would be shaved. It would be not a mohawk, not a faux hawk, but a little more hair towards the back than a mohawk. And the top layers would be straightened hair. The bottom would be shaved out in dimensional form, full dimension. Not a regular barber, an expert barber only. And the blending would be sick. And I did get that. I got it with the locks for a little bit. My guy, I remember the day he had to tell me goodbye, like, no, you got to grow out your locks. Your whole head got to have locks on it. No more cutting it, and I hated that moment. So then the top was straightened and it was going to have 3 colors. I did get the 3 colors in at one point. I was still keeping it natural though when I had the 3 colors in. And I did get the bottom shaved. But as soon as I did all of that, God pressed it upon my heart to lock the hair. And I was like, shit, I didn't even finish this. The stages were taking too damn long. But yeah, it is what it was. And so then I locked it. And I do color in the locks. And as I told you, this is the absence of color or the absence of my choice of color, which I will work on. My birthday is next month, and I really celebrate, and I do the part to make myself look the appropriate parts, even if it takes a lot more work on my part. So that's how I got to this point of learning that my peace of mind and my joy is in my hands. And you can't complain to God about it, because you can and you should. But the truth is, the level of smile is dependent on you. The level of choice of joy level is dependent on you. The learning to, a lot of times too, your lack of joy isn't because you can't be happy. It's because you're carrying other people's dead weight. You gotta learn when to stop carrying other people's dead weight. You can't make other people happy. You can't solve their problems for them. You can't fix their problems for them. The saying is you could take a horse to a river, but you can't force it to drink, right? God gave us free will. So yes, you can worry about the other person, but the truth is, worrying never solved anything. And you can't fix the other person. They gotta want to fix themselves. That's not a responsibility onto you. It's not your job. It's not your place. It's kind of like your faith isn't your kid's faith. It's the same thing. Your happiness isn't somebody else's happiness. They have to make choices to be happy. That's why sometimes married couples forget that just because their marriage is stable or they're happy in it doesn't mean the other party is doing the work to be happy in the marriage too. That can be a real issue. It can bite you in the ass if you're not paying attention to it or even noticing it. But when you realize that that person can't be happy or doesn't know how to be happy and doesn't want to be happy, that's a difficult moment. It's a difficult moment. But I tell you, at the end of the day, you still need to choose. You still need to choose happy. You need to figure out what kind of sacrifices you're willing to make in that situation. You need to sit down and let God show you the way out or show you the way in. Because sometimes it's you that's the problem, right? Sometimes it's you not accepting that they're content in that level of discomfort and that level of unhappiness. That's their idea of joy. And you can't control that. You just can't. And you can't make it a headache for yourself. Because the truth is, the more happy they see you, it will either do one of two things. Make them crave and want that happiness, or make them reject and push you. And you gotta let them do whatever they choose to do. You cannot control another human being. You cannot. You can ask, you can be kind about it, you can pray about it all you want, but even God doesn't control the other human being. He tells them what to do. He lets them decide the final outcome, and best is best. And that's it, and that's it. So that's all she wrote for today. I'll catch you on the flip side on my 5th episode tomorrow. Hope you're liking these. Comments, let me know. Let me know where I'm going. Let me know if there are things you want me to talk about or things you want me to further explain. Or, maybe you want advice or you want some of the many things I have promised on here. Yes, that is something I'm working on. I'm working on not promising things because that's a bad habit I have. Call me out on it. Yeah, but if I've promised something and I haven't fulfilled, please comment below. I appreciate it much. Godspeed and take good care of self. Till tomorrow.